My next guest is truly, she's one of those people, Renaissance people. I call her that because she's been able to reinvent herself. And a lot of people, I had a degree in mathematics and I decided to be a stand up comic. Now, if somebody asked me to do a math problem, either we're going to start fighting because I don't know, and you might call me, I thought you had a degree in math because I don't know. I reinvented myself. That's not a life that I live now. This young lady right here on the phone is a former engineer turned media personality in the area of technology and lifestyle. She is the technology contributor for ABC News, working on a nationally syndicated daytime show, Strahan, Sarah, and Kiki. Her media appearances and interviews include Good Morning America, Cheddar TV, SiriusXM, Essence, and Huffington Post. Television is one of her loves, but she is most passionate about helping people become better digital citizens. She is on the show today to talk about 3 apps that people can utilize to manage and improve their finances in 2020. That's what I call perfect timing. Please welcome to Money Making Conversations, Stephanie Humphrey.
Hello, hello. It's so happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
First of all, Stephanie, it's been a long time since you've been on the show. And that's a good thing
Yeah.
because you've been busy and you've been so busy. You're regular on different shows and things like that. And it's about your brand. It's about putting the word out and maintaining credibility.
Yes.
What do you do to maintain credibility with your voice? Because that's a competitive space.
It absolutely is. And I think you have to be consistent with content. You know, there was that whole idea of content being king that was really popular a few years ago. And that is actually still the case. Content is king. So as you're utilizing these social media platforms, as you're utilizing your website or your blog or whatever, you have to consistently be pushing out content to people around your brand and your area of expertise. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you always have to be creating content because that can get overwhelming, trying to do videos every day or a podcast every week or whatever that looks like. But curating content is just as effective as creating content. So I do a lot of both, actually. So most days of the week, Monday through Friday, I will curate content that I find on the internet and push it out and get people's opinions on it, start conversations around it, drive engagement around technology topics that I think people might be interested in. But then once a week, I actually create content as well through my 60-second tech break, which comes out on Wednesdays, which gives people a actionable, relevant little nugget of information that they can watch, learn, and then go do something with.
Now, I'm assuming it comes out on social media. What platforms do you distribute that?
Across all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
So I can share it on my Twitter account.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
Please do.
You say every Wednesday, right?
Every Wednesday at 3 p.m., the 60-second tech break comes out.
Adele, she's the program director for Money Making Conversations. So every Wednesday, we're going to start sharing her, you said tech break?
60-second tech break, yes.
Yeah, on our social media. Because I'm always trying to, like I said, that's a part of quality content that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about, because I get a lot of people on my show talk about making that transition, and then I meet everyday people who are afraid to make that transition, afraid to walk away from that job, afraid fear just overwhelms them. Like I tell people, my degree is in mathematics. I work for IBM, and then I left IBM to become a comedian. I was already a comedian, but when you walk away from a full-time job, you're becoming a comedian for real then.
That's right.
I was just fooling around. I was just going on stage at night telling jokes.
You were just a funny dude at first.
Yeah, right. That's all I was. I was a funny boy. That was Sean funny. But when I left IBM, I was a real comedian. Okay, I had to find out how I was going to get a regular check on a regular basis. Now, with that being said, you're a former engineer. What type of engineer were you?
Well, I was a systems engineer for Lockheed Martin, but my degrees were in electrical engineering and telecommunications and networking engineering.
Already, she's making me feel, my little math degree feels shaky right
Hey,
now.
listen, a math degree is nothing to sneeze at. Trust me, I know. As hard as it was for me to get through calculus and differential equations, I know a math degree is a big deal.
Oh, you make me feel good, Stephanie. But now here's the fun part about our life. Okay, like I went from math, IBM, computers to being a comedian. Now you kind of still maintain your lane of communication because you stayed in technology. and lifestyle.
Right. Right.
So not saying that was, but there is still a transition. So I ask you, okay, where did you get the confidence? Where did you get the belief that you could do this, or did you just nurture it along? Like I was telling jokes at night. Were you like building your brand before you made the leap?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it really was nothing but God. I can't take any credit for this because this wasn't something that I had always wanted to do and finally had the courage or whatever to do it. And, I wasn't that little kid that, used the hairbrush as a microphone and acted like a TV host in my mirror. I didn't do any of that. Like I did not have any designs on being on television before I actually did it. And I just credit it, again, to God giving me this vision and putting me in the right places at the right times to meet the right people that sort of encouraged it and planted those seeds in my, consciousness that, hey, maybe I could actually, make this work. But no, to your point, I absolutely kept my day job for a long time and, worked the program at night, on the weekends, late nights, early nights. At one point I was working with QVC. That's a 24-hour station. So I might be there at 2:30 in the morning and have to go straight into work or whatever that looked like. But yeah, you definitely, hold on to your paycheck for as long as possible and get your plan together and save your money and figure out how you're going to maintain your lifestyle or what has to change about your lifestyle. That's the one thing I don't think people understand. Some things are going to have to change about your lifestyle when you make this transition, at least at first.
Yes.
You're going to have to cut back on some stuff. You're going to have to, maybe that vacation every year ain't going to happen. So you have to think about what that all is going to look like and put that plan in place before you just jump ship.
And more importantly, what I tell people is that 8 hours, because that's what a 40-hour week gives you discipline. Say I go to work at 8, I get off at 5. When you make that jump, there is no 8-hour.
That's right.
Workday. There, in fact, people will ask you. I know because they ask me all the time, well, what did you do today? And I look at them going, because I'll squinch because I go, what? I was working. What are you talking about?
I was working.
I was working. Now, if you want details, now
sometimes I need to think about what my next move is, and that requires time and work, and you need to be quiet for a minute and maybe go take a walk or go to the gym. I get all my good ideas at the gym. So,
there you go.
That's work too.
But what you realize is that when you go to work, become an entrepreneur, the 24-hour clock is your work schedule. And so when people ask me what I do, depending on what time I get that inspiration of what time I might start working, because I get up at 4, because I changed my schedule. New Year 2020, I used to get up at 4:15. So I decided in 2020 I'm going to get up at 4.
Ooh, Lord.
So I get up at 4, and so that starts my process. I start my whole day, starts writing down different things, and then I drive to where I got to go to my office, and then I have meetings. And then, it depends on the day. I might record my show. I might be interviewed by somebody. I might sit down and start creating different projects that I want to do in the next quarter. Talk to different talents that I manage, and then I might not do anything that you can understand for the next 6 hours. Okay,
right?
That you can understand, that you can comprehend, and then all of a sudden I might go home, and all of a sudden I go to my office, and I'm working again. Maybe to like 4 or 5 hours doing other things. So it's hard for me to tell some people, oh, how you been successful as an entrepreneur? Because you're going to wear me out talking to me. In fact, we won't even talk that long because I would tell people when they call me and they ask me what I'm doing, I go, really, I'm not going to tell you.
And it's different every day. And then some days might just be admin type stuff. Look, I've been scanning receipts all day because tax season is coming up, or whatever that looks like. And I'm a night owl, so some people I might tell somebody, I had a nap at 1:00 in the afternoon, but I stayed up until 3:00 working, because that's just how my mind works. So it's hard to quantify for people if they're not actually doing it because it's going to be different for everybody.
Cool. We're talking to technology and lifestyle expert Stephanie Humphrey, aka Tech Like Steph, is a former engineer turned media personality. Before we get out of this break, I want to start the conversation by till death do you tweet. the program
Hmm.
that you created to educate children, parents, and professionals on the do's and don'ts of social media and how to become better digital citizens. Now, the great thing
Yes.
about it, you're going to Harvard to talk about this on March of this year. That's
Yes.
a big deal.
So excited.
That's a big deal. Now, just talk to me
It is.
about what exactly is Till Death Do You Tweet? It's a website, www.tilldeathdoyoutweet.com. You managed to get that for somebody else got it.
So it's a seminar that helps people understand, first of all, the idea of themselves as a brand. We just had
Right.
that conversation, and people need to understand that it's not just entrepreneurs and celebrities and people like that have brands. We all have brands in this day and age,
Yes.
and
Love it.
social media is the quickest way to grow that brand. But it's also the quickest way that brand can be destroyed with just one post or one tweet or one picture. So I try to get people to understand, students especially, to understand how to manage that brand online effectively. We talk about cyberbullying, we talk about sexting, and we talk about your entire digital footprint as it relates to text messages, emails, social media, and all of your electronically connected activity.
Yes, this is a really cool because when we come back from the break, I want to talk about being able to build your brand while you're with another brand.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people don't understand that it's important that if you're going to step away, don't step away and then start building. Start
No,
creating
it's
that
too late.
process. It's too late. It's too late. It's a difficult task, and we'll talk about some of my personal experiences and my recommendations. I'm sure because you're a person who transitioned from the white collar world to the media world, it's an experience. We're talking to Stephanie Humphrey. We will be back with more money making conversations. Hi, this is Rashawn McDonald, and you're listening to Money Making Conversations. I'm talking to technology and lifestyle expert Stephanie Humphrey, aka Tech Life Steph. Is a former engineer turned media personality. I'm a former math, IBM executive, turned comedian, turned sitcom writer, turned manager of talent, turned TV producer, turned marketing and branding expert, turned host of popular money making conversation podcast, syndicated radio, all those different titles that I just mentioned and I've left some out requires work, requires a whole lot of concentration. And also, each one is a different brand. And so I was talking to Stephanie before we left about when I left IBM, I was telling jokes at night. So it was two different worlds I was living in. I was go to work 7 o'clock in the morning, get off work, and then I stayed at the comedy club every night till like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, depends on when my slot was. But I couldn't allow because I stayed up late to affect my full time job. And so it's important to understand when you start making these decisions, you can't make excuses to why you are unsuccessful over here because you're doing this over here. And a lot of people do that. Well, I got kids. Well, my car, I got car problems. Well, I take the bus. Well, uh, uh, I, I, I'm on a diet. Or I
Listen.
got relationship problems. Or you know, no, nobody know that. Nobody know that but you. So why are you telling
and
me about your
and
problems?
and no one cares. That's what you really need to understand. Nobody cares about any of those excuses, and you just have to. Your job is to figure out how to make it work. Period.
I struck a nerve with Stephanie. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You learn that real early in this entrepreneur struggle. No one really cares about what you're going through. And, I think on a surface level, you can get people to empathize and you have your friends you vent to and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just about the work. I tell this story all the time to tell people about, what it takes. When I was still working as an engineer, I was also a model at QVC at the network. And as I said, it was a 24-hour-a-day channel, so I
Yes.
could be there at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had what I called my 2 a.m. rule. So if I was at QVC and it was 2 a.m. or earlier, so 2 a.m., 1 a.m., midnight, I would go home, I would sleep, I would go into work late, and I would stay late. So I might have to be at work until 9 p.m. that next night.
Right.
If it was 2 a.m. or later, so 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I would go straight to work. and I
Mm-hmm.
might be the only one sitting there at 4:30 in the morning in a cubicle by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would get to leave a little bit earlier, but the point is you make it work. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you have to do to make this dream of yours that you say you have, that you say you're so passionate about, whatever you have to do to make that work, you have to do it to make it work. And that's just the bottom line.
Cool. That's why I love talking to her because of the fact that when I start telling people about my transition, and the people go, "Oh, you wish you talented, you told jokes, and
And you
yeah,
had this, and you had this
yeah,
advantage, and you had this person helping you, and you had it. No, I had a work ethic that helped
yes,
me.
there
That's
you go."
it.
Let's get back to till death you tweet, and I want to talk about these three apps: Mint, Acorns,
Okay.
and Robinhood. Let's just give us more
Okay.
detail about, because it talks about the do's and don'ts of social media. What are the do's and don'ts of social media?
Well, basically, just understand that anything you put out there is going to be there forever. That's why it's called Till Death Do You Tweet. So that's the first thing you need to understand, is that whatever you put out there never really gets deleted. It can always be recovered from somewhere. It's always searchable and recoverable. So I think when you approach social media with that mindset, it changes what you decide to post.
Absolutely.
Because if you know that that's something that's going to come back to haunt you later, potentially, you will be a little bit more mindful about the kind of stuff you post.
It's
So we
always
try
funny
to
when
kind of get everybody to understand that, and understand that it all goes into your personal brand. It all becomes a
Mm-hmm.
part of your digital footprint.
Mm-hmm.
All of your Google's, even your Google searches become a part of your digital footprint, which then become a part of your personal brand. So, forget about what you thought, what type of privacy you might have thought you had, or anything like that. As soon as you touch the internet, you've created this digital footprint that's going to follow you around forever.
And she's telling the truth, because you always read about celebrities taking down posts, but you
Mm-hmm.
read the
Trying to
post,
delete them, but then somebody pull it up because they had screenshots from 10 years ago, or went to the Internet Archive and was able to pull it up. Everything's searchable and recoverable. Everything.
Absolutely. Athletes had to deal with that. A lot of that baseball player, Josh Allen, had to deal with a racist statement that was considered racist
Mm-hmm.
that he had to deal with when he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, because that stays with you. That was something he did in high school. And so
Right.
these statements that might be jokey back then become relevant, or people can point a finger at you. Even in comedy, Kevin Hart had to deal with that. That's why he lost the
Exactly, and
opportunity
it's
to
still
host the
dealing with the
Oscars.
fallout. And I
Yes.
think we look at, because the celebrity mistakes are the ones that get the publicity and are so high profile that none of the rest of us have to worry about that. But we still do. And we are the fact that I get fired from my job at the bank doesn't make it to the 6 o'clock news, doesn't mean I ain't still gonna get fired from my job at the bank. You know what I mean? So it's happening to all of us now. I did a seminar on Friday for a group of students, and one of the teachers came and spoke to me after I finished up, and because I was telling them, like, look, college recruiters are checking, potential employers are checking your social media. And she said when she was in college, she had an internship in the admissions department, and it was her job to look at potential students' Facebook pages all day long and accept or reject them based on what she found there. So it may not be as obvious for all of the rest of us who aren't Oprah or Beyonce, but your social media is a big part of who you are, who people perceive you to be, and people are checking. Again, potential employers, potential dates. If I meet somebody at this point, I'm going to go check their Instagram. I'm going to Google them. I'm going to make sure that, what I find about their brand online aligns with my brand. And it's something that I can, get with.
Absolutely. Let's talk about always hold the financial talk till the end.
Yes.
Hold my audience, hold my listenership here. You have three apps here that help you improve your finances in 2020. It's called Mint, Acorns, and Robinhood. Talk to us about those three apps.
Yes.
Starting
So
with
Mint
Mint.
is an overall budgeting app. It's you can attach all of your accounts to it, your bank accounts, and if you have investment accounts and things like that. But it's going to give you that overall picture of where your money is going, because you cannot get your finances on track until you know where your money is going. So it'll help you budget. You can actually pay your bills through that app. You can connect your light bill account, your cable account, all that stuff, pay your bills through the app, and just keep track of where your money is going. So Mint is a really, really great, easy to use, comprehensive tool for that. Then you get to Acorns. Now, this is where you start saving money. Acorns is going to allow you to round up. So any of the purchases you make with your bank card, it'll round that purchase up to the nearest dollar and take those few pennies, whatever it is, and put it into an investment account and a savings account. So, if you don't feel like you have enough money or you're not making enough money just yet to start putting aside $500 a month or whatever,
right.
you could put a quarter aside, you know what I mean? Like, you're not even going to miss it. If you spend, $6.72, that extra 30 cents or 27 cents, 28 cents, you're not going to miss that. So why not just let that money start working for you and saving it without having to think about it?
Let me just interrupt there right quick, because that's, I have a jar in my house. And so when I get change, I just throw it in that jar.
Right.
And it's a fishbowl. It's like a little baby fishbowl. And so I decided to just take some of it, because you can go to stores and then go to this little machine and they change it out and give you how much money it is. Some of it was like $1,000.
See?
Just some of it.
That could have been money earning interest somewhere.
But I'm just letting you know what you're saying is absolutely true, because you're talking about rounding up change. I was taking change, but instead of just leaving it in this fishbowl, you're talking about investing it and building interest on compounding along the way, which I'm just letting everybody know is that there's a lot of people do what I do. Just take change and just throw it in the corner, or just take change and just let it just sit there, and then open up a drawer. You got change in the bottom of the drawer, and then you push it all to one corner, and then you get it out and go, ooh, I got some hamburger money, stuff like that. And so that's a good way of modernizing an old habit where it can be financially beneficial to you. That's called Acorns.
That's called Acorn. That's going to, like I said, take that little bit of change, put it somewhere where it can grow. And then Robinhood is, once you get to the point where you're actually ready to do some serious investing and building a portfolio, Robinhood allows you to trade stocks for free. So you can buy and sell shares of any stock on the stock exchange for free. It's just a really easy way to get involved and get engaged and get started, because a lot of stock, you don't have to start off with Apple stock that costs $1,000 a share. You can start off with real estate investment trust stocks that only cost $16 a share or something like that. So you start small and you build, and they're actually introducing the idea of buying fractional stocks.
Right.
So the same way that Apple costs $1,000, maybe I can't buy a full share right now, but I got $20. So let me start building towards the time when I can buy a full share of Apple or Amazon or Google or whatever. So it's just a great way to get involved in the stock market. It has tons of information that helps you do your research on the stocks that you're thinking about, and then just kind of get involved, because that's how you're going to build that wealth. Just getting a paycheck, unless you plan on being the CEO, just getting a paycheck may not do it for you, and probably won't do it for most of us. People build wealth through stock purchases and through the stock market. Warren Buffett got rich in the stock market. He didn't get rich because he saved, his pennies in his fishbowl. So you want to start thinking about that. And this is a way to do it that is not high risk for you, because you don't have to spend a ton of money, and you don't have to spend money per transaction, because once you start going to those Price Waterhouses and Goldman Sachs and those bigger companies, they charge you every time you want to buy or sell a share of stock. Robinhood doesn't do that. So it takes away the barrier to entry for people that would want to get into the stock market.
Mint, Acorns, and Robinhood. These are apps that people can utilize to manage and improve their finances in 2020. I love each one of them. Mint, is awesome. Acorns, I just talked about that. I just need to upgrade my program and stop throwing money in the jar and start putting it in the bank or something with this software that you have out there at Robinhood. I started out buying stock through, discount brokers like Charles Schwab. They charge me fees. And you talking about,
and it was discount, but they were still charging you.
Right. That's what I'm just letting everybody know. Now you're talking about I can still invest and grow my brand through that. It's just amazing what the information you always give out to us on a daily basis. This time, Stephanie, I do want to promote the fact when you go to Harvard in March to talk about Till Death Do You Do You Tweet? Excuse me, Deaf Do You Tweet. And that's a website, www.tilldeafdoyoutweet.com for more information. Stephanie Humphrey, a.k.a. Tech Life Steph, please come back sooner. Come back sooner, okay?
I will. I won't stay away too long next time.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye-bye.